Hi PYP6. Now we're going to read the book Caves, The Wonder Underground. And we're going to look at a few nonfiction features while we read. So the first one we're going to look at is the table of contents. Here it is. I noticed that it's decorated with stalactites and stalagmites, which is kind of cool. I remember seeing those. So this is the contents. It tells us all the sections in the book along with page numbers. I'm noticing that there's a glossary and an index, which we'll talk about when we get to the end of the book. Holes in the earth. The surface of earth is full of holes. Some of these holes are dry, warm, and easy to get to. Others are deep, dark, and difficult to get to. And now I'm going to read the caption. So this is called a caption underneath the picture, so it's going to tell me what's in the photo. It says, some animals, such as this tiger, make a home for themselves in a dry, warm cave. These holes in earth are called caves. Many caves form under the ground in places where water eats away at the rock. These kinds of caves are called solution caves. Well, I just learned something new, that a cave that gets washed away by water is called a solution cave. How most caves form. Most solution caves are found where there is a thick layer of rock called limestone. This layer of limestone lies under the soil and plants. Over time, cracks open in the limestone. This is exactly like Barbados. Barbados is made mostly of limestone. Water seeps down through the soil and flows through the cracks. The water dissolves the limestone. After many thousands or millions of years, the water makes openings under the ground. And this shows a really great picture of how caves form. So you can imagine that this is how Harrison's cave was formed also, with water seeping down through the limestone and eating away and making these caves. And then it goes down until it hits the more solid rock, and then it flows underground in like an underground river. At first, the openings are filled with water, but very slowly, most of the water drains away. Air fills the hollow places in the rock, and a solution cave is born. In some solution caves, water may remain as underground lakes, rivers, and waterfalls. In time, an opening to the outside world may form. Some openings are too small for a person to squeeze through. Other openings are big enough to drive a truck through. And there's a caption here also that says, 3 people stand in the opening to a small cave in Oregon. Exploring caves. People have been exploring caves for thousands of years. Ancient people carried torches to light their way. Deep inside some caves, they made paintings of animals and hunters. Today's cave explorers carry powerful flashlights to find their way in the dark. They also wear hard hats for protection from falling rocks. Their hats have lights too. They use ropes to climb up and down underground cliffs. And there's another caption underneath the paintings on the rock, and it says, these paintings of wild horses and other animals were found in a cave in France. Wow, there's caves all over the world. Mineral shapes. Cave explorers have discovered beautiful mineral shapes in caves. Some shapes look like carrots hanging from the ceiling. These are called stalactites. Other shapes rise from the cave floor like pointy towers. They are called stalagmites. I remember these from Harrison's cave, so that helps me connect to this text because I remember what I learned about them in the cave when we went. And there are captions here as well. This caption says, 2 cave explorers admire the stalactites in Carlsbad Caverns, New Mexico. And the caption in this one's above the picture and not below it. And it says, these stalagmites are also in Carlsbad Cavern. Mineral shapes form when water containing minerals seeps into the cave. Drip by drip, minerals harden on the ceiling to form a stalactite. Minerals harden on the cave floor to form a stalagmite. Other mineral shapes look like drinking straws, waterfalls, flowers, and curtains. Still other shapes remind people of popcorn, pearls, dog's teeth, lily pads, and angel wings. We saw some that were shaped like wings. Remember we drove by and there was one that was shaped like an eagle. He calls it the eagle. That was like a stalactite that was shaped like wings. It wasn't just shaped like a carrot. Life in caves. Explorers also have found strange animals deep inside caves. Near a cave's entrance, the sun shines in and the temperature is about the same as outside. Familiar plants and animals live near the cave entrance, but things change deeper inside the cave. Beyond the entrance to the cave, a low light zone begins. A few plants can live here, but they don't grow very well in the dim light. Bats hang from the walls and ceiling. Pack rats run along the floor. Birds called swifts build their nests on the walls. Oh, and you see entrance, low light zone, and a no light zone. The deepest part of the cave is sometimes called the no light zone. This area is completely dark all day and night. The temperature hardly changes in there. It is always cool and damp. With no light, there are no plants. Without plants, there's very little food. Only special kinds of living things can survive in the no light zone. A tiny, colorless cave creature is shown much larger here. Oh, I understand. So this is not life-size. This picture is like magnified. So this is a very teeny tiny creature. All the food in the no light zone comes from outside the cave. The rain washes dead plants and animals into the cave. Fungi grow on the dead things. Tiny animals eat the fungi. Larger animals eat these smaller animals. Cave animals are some of the oddest creatures on Earth. Most of them have no eyes and no color in their bodies. Pale pink fish and crayfish swim in the dark water. Blind, colorless crickets and beetles crawl among the rocks. Guess they wouldn't need color because, well, nobody can see in the dark, so they don't really need to be colorful or hide or blend in. Interesting. The wonders of caves. Caves are important for their beauty, their rare animals, and for what they can teach us. No one knows how many caves there are, but we do know one thing. Every cave holds wonders that exist nowhere else on Earth. Interesting. So this page right next to it is called the glossary. You know what a glossary is? Glossary will tell me the meaning of some of the words in the text. So if I see a word that's darkened in black, I can come and look at and see what it means. Like dissolve, that's a good word. Dissolve means to melt by putting in water. So like sugar will dissolve in water, it disappears. Limestone is a type of rock that's easily dissolved. And they do low light zone, mineral, no light zone, stalactite, stalagmite, solution cave. There's even some pictures to help us. And on the very back page, this is the index. And it looks a lot like a table of contents, but it's a bit different. So let's say you were doing a project on limestone and you saw this book and you're like, oh, I wonder if there's anything about limestone in that book. Well, you could come to the table of contents and you could look, and it's alphabetic. It's in ABC order. So A, C, F, H, you can see it's in order. So you go down until you find L, limestone. So I can learn about limestone on page 6 and 7. I know it's mentioned. They talk about limestone on page 6 and 7. I can also see that they talk about mineral shapes on page 12 to 15. On what page would I find stalactites? What do you think that would be? Do you see that in the index? Where would I find the stalactites? Yeah, that's right. Page 12 and 14. Well, where will I find information about animals in caves? Animals starts with an A. Where would that be in the index? You got it. Page 16 to 21. That's where I would find the animals. Good job. I hope you enjoyed the book Caves. We'll see you next time.